Chainlink weekend update. We're going to start off here on the 4 hour so you can know what to watch for the rest of today. Going into the weekend, we'll zoom out, go to the daily chart and then the weekly. Show you all the levels, bullish and bearish, bullish. So we're going to look at everything unbiased as possible. That's what any technical analyst should be doing. If they're looking at only bulls or only bears, they're trying to fit their narrative and make you probably sway to that side, right? So if you got to look at both sides, weigh the facts, and then go where you're going, right? So let's get right to it, right? 4 hour. What do we got going? Well, I like that we have a little bit of a rounded bottom here. You can see this. This downtrend on this 4 hour chart has ended, but the uptrend could be short-lived. Well, let's look at it, right? So we have resistance under this 200 EMA, right? So the 200 EMA is going to be the most important line on this 4 hour chart, this pink line right here, right? So we'll leave that. We need to close above that the next time we get up, because this last 4 hour candle, we just closed a lower low for the first time, right? You see this, how we broke this and we broke this high. We started making a new uptrend here, right? By definition, higher highs, higher lows. That's what we have, but we have our first crack. We don't have a reversal just yet, but this is our step 1 of 2. Our step 2 to, stop this uptrend is to put in a lower high than this guy right here. So we need to claim 640 going in sometime today, right? Likely going to be in the next, 12, 24 hours maybe, right? So if we come up and we fail to print a higher high, then this uptrend is now ended again, because we've already made a lower low and we would have a lower high. That would be double checkpoint or checkpoint. And then we'd likely, hit resistance on this 200 EMA and be rolling over to a new downtrend. Now, uptrends and downtrends can last for a few sessions. They could last for a few months, right? We don't know. You just need to look for higher highs and higher lows. We, by definition, took out this high. We took out this, right, lower, we have a high, lower high, lower high. And for the first time, we had a higher high right here, and then we put in a higher low. So by definition, that one is over. That was a little bit longer. And so far, we have an uptrend, but it could be very short-lived. So pay attention to that. If we come back up and we reverse anywhere before 640, back to the downside, we're in trouble. However, if we come back up and we can close above the 200, we can close above the 240, we're still in this uptrend and should be treated as such. So then we look up, we zoom out, and we see where's our next kind of resistance level. Well, the biggest one is going to be up in here, right, on this 4 hour chart, right? So we'd look around the $7 area. And then, after you do that, establish that, you have to establish your lows. Where's our low kind of support area? Right, so I would go with something around in there. You can kind of argue both spots. Whatever has the most touch points tends to be the most strongest level. So our lows, let's just go with this. 570 to 588, 590. Let's go with that for our low structure. If we break that, right, then that's all you have on this 4 hour. Right, then you'd have to zoom out. So let's leave those there on the daily. And then we'll see if we have anything else that we can go off of. Well, that's that number on the 200, right? Let's delete that. You got to be careful what you're looking at. But look at this daily, right? And now we've actually made a higher high on the daily, right? So this downtrend on the 4 hour, right, that ended. Also confirming a new uptrend on the daily chart. But we have our warning on that 4 hour of a lower low. We'll see where we close today. Ideally, when you gain momentum, right, you want to hold above the 21 EMA on any time frame. The daily, the weekly, the 3-day, whatever. That yellow line, I color mine yellow, the 21 EMA. That's what you want to be holding of. So that, as of right now, let's get an exact number for today, 625, right? So baby steps for Chainlink. Let's get 625 today, and then maybe we can, have a move going into the weekend. You want to zoom in and out as often as possible, right? Get your biggest established, support levels on, your higher time frames, and then you can zoom in. But this way, I'm starting the opposite, right? I'm starting on the zoomed in, and then we're going to zoom out to get you a better picture. So if we continue up, right, the best case scenario for the bulls, right, we have to focus on, here's our 4 hour level, right? Seems to be a decent level as well for Chainlink on even the daily chart, but we have some headroom ahead of us, right? Notice all these moving averages, and the bigger ones, right? The 200 right here at 680, right? So you want to always pay attention to that 200 EMA on any chart, right? Previous kind of support, right? We held this up here, broke through it. So if we get back up here again, would likely be a resistance. So we have our resistance zone between, I would say, 680 and, you know, that $7 area right in there. So there's our resistance. You can drag that out, right? Our support zone, pretty weak in here, right? On the daily chart, I would kind of flip this a little bit. Let's go with our zone as being there and to our lowest closing candle. So if you put it on closing price, then you can start to see, you know, that becomes a little bit more evident there, right? So closing support zone 615, call it, to 580, 585. If we close under this, then you have to zoom out more, which we will shortly. Right, same thing with your support zones and resistance zones, right? Your resistance starts at 680 and it goes up to 710 or so. If we close above 710, then we zoom out a little bit more and we see our next levels, right? And then you have kind of these stair steps up for Chainlink. So 767, call it, that high, that high, that high. So there's our 3 stair steps, right? That would be our next resistance little lines. So, and then our biggest one from our peak in the summer, July 837, we got to get above 850, right? Let's put on the Gaussian channel. Let's see how that looks. And there we go. So we're red on the Gaussian, we're underneath the Gaussian, and we're underneath almost all moving averages. So we're a little bit more cautious here than bullish, just by definition, right? Until you can get back above your 200, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of bullish momentum. You got to climb back up the stairs, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Let's zoom out again. Let's see if we have any other takes on the 3-day chart. The 3-day, we've bottomed so far as a higher low from midsummer, from right our $5 area. Put in a high, which was a lower high still from back in April. So keep this in mind. But we have our first kind of sign of potential strength because we have put in a higher low so far. Again, we don't know if this is the low or if this is just a kind of a move. Let me get the right tool here, right? If this is just a move like this and we're actually going to put in a lower low, we don't know if that's coming, or are we doing the opposite and we actually are establishing a new uptrend on this 3-day where we're going to do something like this, right? So one of those is more likely to play out, right? You got to do one or the other. We're either going to put in a higher low or a lower low, but what will we do, right? We're going to have to be patient and watch. So we have our levels. We're in the lower tier of this Gaussian channel. So by definition on the Gaussian, we're more bearish, right? That's why these candles are red, all red here. And then they start to glow this little neon green when it starts to get bullish, or when you're above this median line and you're in the upper tier, right? You see the differences, right? So that's what we're looking for. That number to turn more bullish is around 670, right? That gets us to our 4-hour and our daily resistance zone, right? This zone right here, and then our established, 4-hour daily support zone here, right? We want to maintain that because that's a higher low so far. Then we want to work our way back to the upside, take out, not only the median line, 670. We want to get back above and really show the bulls that they can do it, right? We're the Thomas the Train here. We got to take out, the steps at it, one step at a time, and start reversing this. And our high of 836, right? That's where we need to establish in the macro grand scheme. Now, if you see the time frame on the bottom here, right? That could take some months to play out, right? We're looking like, late October, November before we could potentially see that, right? So patience, right? And we have our 200 EMA up here, which is also the 600 day, right? On the 3-day chart, the 200 is 600, right? So that's at 920. Could very well likely be around 850-ish level, towards the end of this year. So keep that in mind. We'll keep you updated, right? Now let's zoom out to our biggest picture, or one of the bigger ones, right? The weekly, where we've just basically been sideways. These zones now become, pretty much obsolete, right? On the bigger scale, right? Then you need to be focusing on really the median Gaussian channel on the weekly, 780, right? You could really argue that that's our resistance zone on the bigger picture, right? We're looking at that. That would get us more bullish. Where if we haven't been bullish on the weekly chart, right, in quite some time, we're looking at our last kind of green candles was January 2022 on the weekly Gaussian, right? So when and if we start to do that, 780 is the number as of now, right? We're trying to hold this lower weekly Gaussian, right? Looking okay there. But we're by definition more bearish than bullish, right? Because we're underneath all moving averages, because the Gaussian channel is red, because the moving averages are moving down, because we've been in a year plus sideways consolidation. Now we're building our base here, but you're more cautious than anything right here. Long-term accumulation, sure. But are the lows in? Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. If you want to wait and be more safe, get back above this zone. A lot of big things start to happen for Chainlink, 850 to 9 area, right? There's your 200 week right there. Again, right, there's a 100 week even above that, right? The Gaussian channel turning green, likely going to be, early 2024. We had hoped for an earlier time than that, but if even if you stretch this out here, right, the Gaussian channel has to move up to turn green. So how are we going to move up? Prices need to be above it. So that's going to take double digits, right? So if we prolong this out, say prices just went straight up as of now, obviously not likely to happen. But the best case scenario has this like early 2024, right? Just to move the average up. I mean, prices would need to go to 10 like real soon. So keep that in mind, right? It's going to take some time. Probably going to be Q1 2024 before we have a first chance of our legit alt season. So keep that in mind, just based on the altcoin season index, based on the total 3 market cap, right? Let's go look at that real quick. Here's total 3, which is just your pure altcoins. This is no Ethereum and no Bitcoin, if you're wondering. So looking at that, right, it's very similar to Chainlink, right? The weekly Gaussian on all the altcoins is still going to take likely Q1 2024, right? You could see that, right? It's not going to likely breach 400 billion by tomorrow, right? So going to take some time, and you could see that, right? Really, I mean, look at that, right? Get above 400 billion, and then we could talk about some alt seasons. Until then, we don't know, right? We have a higher low so far, but we also have lower highs. So we're very confused on the altcoin market right now, right? More bearish than bullish. We're beneath all moving averages. We're red on the Gaussian. We're underneath the Gaussian, right? It's just going to take some time. So have patience, right? So back to Chainlink, right? How about Link Bitcoin, right? Let's just do a side note on that if you're still here, right? Link Bitcoin is even lower than Link USD, if you can imagine that, right? So buying Link with Bitcoin right now is not in your best interest. Buying altcoins with Bitcoin right now is probably not in your best interest. Bitcoin dominance being at near 50% and likely trending higher, says your altcoins are going to lose value against Bitcoin. Whether or not the price goes up in fiat or USD is irrelevant, right? When talking about your pairings against Bitcoin, compare your alts to Bitcoin. If your charts are, put it on the monthly chart even, or the weekly, right? It should be looking relative like that. It should be gaining against Bitcoin over time, over its entire life, right? Not a whole lot of coins have this much history, Ethereum does, and it's trending up against Bitcoin over time. Chainlink is included in that. It trends up against Bitcoin over time. Whether or not you came into the market during this time is probably your opinion of Chainlink, right? So if you bought Chainlink, anywhere after 2021, right, you can look at it against fiat as well. In this, most people that have a pessimistic outlook on Chainlink bought somewhere in this area. I would fathom, right? Anybody that has an optimistic outlook price-wise on Chainlink or just value-wise either bought early or has bought in recently or has just become fundamentally aware of how important Chainlink is to the ecosystem, right? So that's the monthly look snapshot of Chainlink, right? Just sideways. building our base. We're still okay, right? Just look at the early days of Chainlink and how well it did, right? So keeping that in mind, right? Back to Link BTC really quick, right? And then I'll let you go. Gaussian channel has always been green on the monthly for Chainlink, even against BTC, but we're still in a downtrend by definition against Bitcoin. So keep that in mind, right? We're underneath all moving averages. Wait until, if you want to convert some Bitcoin over to Link, you got to wait until, you're getting, above 3,000 Satoshis, right? Above the EMA 8, at least get a monthly close above the EMA 8, right? Until you do that. So for the 4 of you that, are looking to do that and are still watching at this point, right, appreciate it. But hopefully we can talk more about this when it starts to look more bullish against Bitcoin. It's just not there yet. And neither is nothing against Chainlink, but most altcoins are in a downtrend against Bitcoin, right? No surprise there with Bitcoin dominance so high. It's Bitcoin season on the altcoin season index. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, right, the altcoin season index on blockchaincenter.net, it's free. You can go check this out anytime. Right? We do a snapshots of this. It's not pure Bitcoin season, but altcoin season starts way the hell up here, right? So keep that in mind. I still think Bitcoin dominance is going higher. So just a lot of rants here. Let's get back to Link USD for the monthly. You can go check that out again. We have some work to do, right? We have some work to do. Let's look at the indicators, right? We're gaining some momentum on the MFI. This is probably the most important indicator that I'm watching, is that we're getting bullish divergence on the monthly for Chainlink. So keep that in mind. Bullish divergence, right? MFI versus RSI. I love using the MFI over the RSI, right? I pay very little attention to the RSI, because the MFI is very similar, but it includes the volume. Wouldn't you want that, right? This tells me that people are accumulating Chainlink. That's what you want to see. The Fisher transform, also bullish divergence, right? Going up when price is going flat or down, right? These are huge indicators that say, right, big moves are coming on the horizon, right? So hard to argue against a monthly bullish divergence MFI, right? That's good. Good, right? Now, on the bad side of that is it could take 6 more months to actually play out, right? So patience here, but maybe you haven't seen this. I would say probably haven't. Monthly MFI, major bullish divergence. So I'll kind of end it with that note. Let's get to our crypto fear and greed index, 46. We're still in fear, right? So keep that in mind. Quote of the day, beware the fury of a patient man. Car of the day, Mercedes AMG GT, with the best background possibly taken from a car. All right, so that is that, as they say. Request on Chainlink. I need some help on my video filters. I had some camera issues. Shit got unplugged and I can't get it back to where it was. I feel like the video quality might be a little bit better out in this area, but the Chainlink sign is, I can't get the settings right. If you're a camera guru and know what setting to adjust, like the low light, the white balance, the exposure, the aperture, I've played with all of it. I can't get it right. When I get the sign looking right, I'm gone. So something I'm missing. If you're good at that, let me know. If not, thanks for watching this long, and have a great weekend. 57 gold stars to you. You deserve it. Let me know what you want to see next. I appreciate you. See ya.